Good afternoon, people. Right, so what we're doing today, we're out doing a bit of pest control, but what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show that side of it because I know YouTube doesn't like any of it, and a lot of you don't like it, but reason for that is obviously my mate's got a small holding and everything. He's getting his crops and everything eaten up, so it's an excuse for me to come out for the night because it's an essential work apparently. And yeah, I'll get some food while I'm here, so awesome. What I'm going to do is, everybody seemed to like the basic camp, so what I'm going to do, this isn't a set in stone bushcraft thing, it's not a set in stone how to do it thing, this is just an option for more of a beginner, because there's a lot of beginners out there that are put off by, there's a lot of misinformation or a lot of people that are biased. So what I want to do is I'm going to use different kit each time. I'm going to use different options. I'm not one of them people that says you must rub sticks together to make fire, you must use whatever burner, or do you know what I mean? You get these people that are just, so you must do it this way, it's phenomenal. I'm not about that, because at the end of the day, options. What works for me, what might not work for you, but what I want to show you is it doesn't really matter. It gets you out, and the biggest thing is I want people to get out and start doing this, because you know it's gets you out from in front of the TV and that kind of thing, doesn't it? So again, like I did with the last one, I'll put a link to it at the end of this video or in the description, something like that. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But what I did, because a lot of people says, oh, I've got nowhere to camp, I've got nowhere around me. So what I did is I went down a public footpath and I wild camped. Kept out of the way, kept it a stealth one. I think it worked well. A lot of people seem to like it, and it just went from there. What I'm going to do tonight, just to show you, it's real easy. You don't need to go to... You don't need to be in the middle of the woods, because a lot of people say I've got no permission, I can't do that, and I hate that I can't do that attitude. That's why, like I say, I went down the public footpath before. This time, if you look this way, it's just an open paddock. You know, there's nothing really hardcore bushcraft about this, and if you can dip your toe in with something like this, it gives you the confidence, and you can test your kit out to the point that when you do go to the woods, you're proficient in what you're doing, you're not going to get water coming into your sleep system, you're not going to have a bad night, and you enjoy yourself. So for the beginners out there, you know, don't worry about not being exactly like your favourite YouTuber or something like that, because it takes time to put all this stuff together. As for the rest of you that are proficient in this one, you know, you've probably got your way of doing it. You're probably typing out an angry little comment now saying that's not how you do it, you shouldn't do it like that, whatever. It's like, yeah, cool, whatever it works for you, I'm going to do me. Alright, let's crack on. Right, so what I'm using, it's the Webtex geese. It's the Webtex Bergen, so it's a direct copy of the British Army Soldier 95 Bergen. You can get them online. They're a decent one. They're not the best bag in the world, but for me it's tough, it's got good zips on it, it's got plenty of compartments, it works for me. I've got the 90 pattern one, which I actually prefer. It's not as in good condition as this one, but if I'm out and about, like I'm walking or something like that, it's definitely better than a bit of DPM, but I like a bit of DPM. So yeah, let's have a run through of a couple of the items that I've got, and then the rest of it I'll show you as I get the shelter set up, okay? Right, so now we're down a little bit closer. So what I like to do, I like to run in layers. So I've got a vehicle kit, which is all big heavy kit, so you've got like your group cooking equipment, your cast iron cookware, things like that, your big water containers, you know, your onboard water tanks, things like that. If you were to move away from that, my next one down is this kind of setup, okay? So what I've got in here, I've got a large sleeping bag, which I don't bother putting in the little stuff sack, so it does take up a lot more room, but there's no more weight, and I don't need all this size anyway, so fills the pack out. That's in the middle at the bottom, because that's the last thing that I want to get out. Reason being is you don't want to get a sleep system out, put it on the side in the rain, something like that, then have to put your shelter up while that gets wet. So you leave that till last. It's right at the bottom. Then what I tend to do is in the top section here, this is where I'll have things that you want to get to, so like your tools, your knives, your torch, things like that. It's in the top. You don't have to go digging down inside it. You might need it while you're on foot still, or while everything's set up and you just want to get your hand in there and get it. I'll show you that in a bit more depth when the shelter's up, because I don't want to lose things. On the inside of this lid, that's where I keep my personal things, like your personal cleaning kit. So I have Pits and Bits, which is it's like a body wash, and you get these dissolvable little wet wipes. I also keep a toilet bag in there. If you need to go to the toilet, you can do it in the bag, seal it up, take it with you. I keep in this section here, this is all my tarps and tentage, so this is what gets put up first. So I've got the DPM basha here. Underneath it is all the tent pegs, bungees, things like that to actually put it up. Over on this side, a bit of warm clothing, and I think it might even be my sleeping bag, not my sleeping bag, my poncho liner, because I'm a large fella. I don't tend to fit in sleeping bags over well, so what I do is I pull it mostly over me, I leave it unzipped and have a poncho liner over the top of me. That sorts me out. Front section, I've got the old school water bottle with the metal cup, so I can cook out of that on an open fire. Again, I'm all about options, so I do like the metal cup because you can do your bits and pieces in it. You can boil water, you can cook a meal in it, you can do all sorts, okay, with water there. The next layer, if I wanted to break it down and have it lighter again, is then I go to this bag here, which this is my Broom Kit. I mean, I take this one to work with me, things like that. I'll show you the contents of this again when we're all set up, but this is, I've got a cook system in here, I've got some food in here, I've got fire lighting in here, and I've got some basic tools and whatnot in here. So if I had to just carry that in a car, again, I've got layers, and if I was going to go away from that as well, on my person, obviously, carry knives, things like that, fire lighting, lighters, you've got your mobile phone and your torches, and it goes on and on and on. It's something that you're going to pick up over time, because everybody's got their own preference on what multi-tool, what knife, what this, what that. Best thing I can say is get something that's fairly cheap that you're going to stay warm, dry in, and you can cook something to eat, and then go out with other people and see how they're doing it, look at how it works for them, get it in your hand, play with it, see what works, because you don't want to go spending loads of money on something that's just not going to work for you. So there's plenty of videos out there, make an educated guess, and then main thing, go out with some other people and see what they use and have a look at it for yourself. So one thing with a location like this, if you are going to be in a bit of a field, I prefer being in the trees because you're not short of things to tie to. You've got branches overhead you can pull a bit of paracord up to, tie it off. You've got a branch you can tie down to. When you're in a field, you're more reliant on poles and pegs and things like that, which I'm not a great fan of, because a bit of a wind comes, it's something that it can give if you don't do it right. So first thing what we need is, I've been and got a stick. So doesn't have to be anything particular. You can actually get basha poles and things. Personally, I've never bothered with the basha poles, just because I've never not been able to find a piece of wood or a stick or what have you. There's 1,000,001 ways to set a basha up. Don't think that you have to do it the way I'm going to do it, because I do it different depending on where I'm at. So normally what I tend to do is I'll have one small side and then a long side going down. If I'm in some low trees or something, I'll have one side almost down to the floor, then I'll have it coming all the way up, but then both sides down, and then I'll have a bungee holding one side up, so I can release the bungee once I'm in it, which drops it down and brings it all around you, so you're nice and camouflage, nice and low, and you're out of the way if you're wild camping. When you want to get back out of it, you lift that centre section up, you've got your bungee dangling down, hook it on, you've got your door to get in and out. For this one, I think what I'm going to do, because the majority of the damage is coming from that direction, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go all the way to the floor, because I want to be able to shoot through the night out across here. that's perfect range for me. But they do all come out into the open as well onto this field here, so I want the option of being able to shoot that way as well. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my vehicle over in front of here, just so I've got good line of sight on both sides. I mean, normally you just pick one direction because you kind of know where you want to shoot, but on this one they're everywhere. They're just coming through it as you look down the tree lines. Anyway, that's by the by. So let's get this stick set up. So what I'm going to do, obviously I'm going to tie onto the fence here about yay far off the floor. It's going to come up to the stick, then it's going to come back down again and almost to the floor. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to kind of have it biased, so it's not just dead centre, it's not far off. Then from there we'll go with what we've got. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the camera now, you can tell it's coronavirus haircut time, can't you? Right, so first of all, so what we're going to do, what makes things easy, is before you say I'm doing it this way, I'm doing it that way, I'm doing it the other way, get your tarp out, get your basha out and actually lay it out, and you'll see what's round you, because you might set it all out and things, put it on the floor, look at where you're actually going to tie it up, and it works out that the trees are in the wrong place, the branches are in the wrong place, it's not going to work and you have to change your pattern. So me personally, get the thing out and have a look. So let's get the kit over to one side. There is an inside and there is an outside on this. Yeah, I'm sure you can figure that out for yourself. It's not rocket science. So what we're going to do, let's get this thing laid out. So what I'm doing, I'm just tying off on that corner there, real low. I tend to leave bits of paracord on the corners, so when you get it out, it's already there and you're not fumbling about for bits. They're just scraps that I use over time. Okay, so let's get this one over here. We do it fairly low because the wind's changed direction. It's coming from this way now, so you don't want it so you've got all the wind coming through. But what I can do is, again, tie off low here and raise the centre ever so slightly with a stick or something like that, so when I want to shoot out I can. When I want to go to sleep for an hour, knock the stick out, it comes down. It's a little bit stretchy so you can get away with it. Right, so now we've got that tied off. If it was pouring down with rain, there's nothing stopping you while you're putting the rest of this up, getting your bag and everything underneath. It's still going to give you some sort of protection from the elements. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, so we can lift up from there, we can lift up from the other side as well, and we can have it going over. Or the other thing that I've seen is quite popular for people to do is to have it low on all four sides and then just have the front as like a bit of an entrance. That way if the wind does change directions, it's no big deal, you can do that. So what we'll do first of all, is to get some pegs and things down. So I know that this corner is going to go here. Don't ram it all the way in because things are subject to change as you move along and you cut your sticks, things like that. So once you've got it laid out flat like this, you can kind of see how much real estate you're going to need. So from here now, what we can do is, like I say, what I want to do is lift this front up a little bit. How much do I want to lift it up by? And put a stick here. I'm going to work it out. I'm going to say about yay high. We get the knife out, we can cut that down there. Just make sure there's no sharp edges on the bit that's going to go to the basher. Okay, what I was doing there, if you don't know, it's called if you're really good you can do it, it's called a tri-cut because you cut on three sides. Okay, you can whack all you want going in sideways, you're not going to do a great deal. If you go down with the grain, you're going to bite in. So what I like to do is you anchor it on the floor and you're going to come down and in at an angle. That way you're going to go down with the grain, which is easy to cut into, but you're also making progress into the middle of the piece of wood. Then what happens is, because a lot of people will hold it like this, and they're chopping away, and it works, don't get me wrong, but what happens is, as they whack it, the whole thing moves forwards, so you lose that inertia that's coming down. So by planting it on the floor, you can get a good whack if you're trying to make progress through something. If you're doing some fine work, yeah, fair one, you can just sit here and just go at it. So put it back in the sheath, because we don't want to put his hands down on it. Okay, so what we've got now is, that's a nice little lip, that, where someone else has already cut it. What you could do, you could sharpen this into a point, you could put it into the ground, that way when it's got pressure coming down on it, it's stabbed in there. I don't think it's going to be an issue. This really isn't an arts and crafts kind of video. Right, so what we're doing now, got the back corner fastened to the fence there, back corner fastened to the fence there, front corner fastened to the fence there. We've done one bungee up to the barbed wire fence. You could put a stick there if you wanted to. That's just to give you a little bit of height inside. Then what we're going to do, we're going to create the apex on this side. This is the bit of a faff because we haven't got a solid thing to mount it to. So again, we're going to put it over that tab. We're going to bring it in here. And can you see how much give everything's got? What you've got to bear in mind is when the water comes down, water likes to pool. So if you give it somewhere to sit and build up, it's going to come down, it's going to land on your head, you know, it's going to all push in. If you're touching it, you're going to get condensation, you might get some water come through if your waterproofing's not ideal. The other thing to bear in mind is when you're setting this thing up and you're pulling it tight, you can see you're putting these ridges into places. You can adjust it once you've got things to where you want it to get them out of it. You can also manipulate them so it's the way the water goes. That only works if it's light rain, things like that, because heavy rain, it's just going to do its thing and push down, okay? So just bear them things in mind, yeah? So we're going to have that kind of there. What I think I'm going to do is put a bungee on here, and then the bungee down to a tent peg, which is then going to give us the support, so this is going to stay upright, okay? Okay, back across to this final side. Once we've done this final side, we can then go around, just adjust where we've got the paracord in places, just to kind of get them lines and bits and pieces out, yeah? So again, what we can do on this, you can either have it straight here and have a piece of paracord up. Always look for the bits in nature you can use, like that is absolutely perfect for... So I thought I just saw someone on the lane then. Absolutely perfect for tying off, getting things round, even hooking onto an eyelet, that kind of thing. You know, if you had the space to do it. You know, if this was a little shorter, that'd be perfect to hook on there and have like that. That's not going anywhere because how taut that is, it's got it. The only downside that you've got here is you've now got these wells where water can go into, which is no good. So what you'd have to do is, me personally, I'd have this a little bit lower and bring them corners out a little bit, which then tightens everything up. So what I do is I double it over, so you've got a loop, and then you're just going to simply go through like that. What that does is it gives you this loop here, so you're not tying knots and knots and knots on here, because what happens is you tie it on, it gets really really compact and you can't get the thing off again. So what I do is I then put that loop through the loop, and then you put the line straight through here. Got a nut on here because it's a spare piece anyway. And then what you can do is you pull that tight, and you've got a good anchor point on there. Okay, once you've got a good anchor point on there, we can then put this stick up wherever we want. So we can either chop it down and put it straight onto it, so you can chop it down, put it straight onto it, or we just put it at an angle because there's going to be pressure on it, and we can bring it over the top of here. Okay, you've got two choices. You can either tie that off here and just let the tent do its kind of thing, or we have a loop on this end. We put a tent peg out in front of us, which keeps lovely tension all the time. Okay, go around there a couple of times so it doesn't slip. A little bit of friction on these. Right, so as you can see, we've got the setup here. It's a bit of an odd one, just purely because there's no trees about to go off. So what I've got the raised section just here, so I can shoot out that way. I've got the raised section just here, so I can get in and out that way and shoot out that way. I've got it lifted up on that side just to give us the fall that if it does rain, the water's got somewhere to go. So from there, I'm going to put the ground sheet in. You can just have a bivy bag where you'll you'll get yourself in your sleeping bag, you'll get yourself in that, and then you're waterproof. Personally, I like to just put an old school poncho down. And that gives you a good expanse that you can get your sleeping bag and everything on. And if you move about in the night, you know you're not going to put your hand down into a puddle of water or something like that. Because I've had nights in these things where it rained a little bit, but then it picked up and picked up and picked up, and I got wet because the water, it wasn't coming in through the tent, it was coming onto the ground and coming down the slope. It is what it is sometimes. It's an old 58 pattern poncho here. Okay, let's get this under. One thing that I can't emphasise enough, when you're putting your ground sheet or anything down, make sure it's well in of the edges, even if you have to fold it over, because last thing you want is water to pool down, come down, hit your ground sheet and then roll in on your ground sheet, because it defeats the object of the thing. So that's under now, so I'm going to get my little roll mat, get my sleeping bag, get it all set up in there, okay? Right, so it's getting to that time of day. I've just been and seen my mate, he come back in with a tractor. Just as I've walked around the corner of the Land Rover, straight away, rabbits running into the borough just here. So it's getting towards evening time. It's early in the year, so you're going to get all the younger rabbits that they don't know no better. So it's easy pickings, which some people don't like that, but I don't like factory farmed food, so I think that's quite cruel. So take it from what you want. Horses for courses. Right, so I was telling you about this earlier. So what I keep in here, because this goes, if I jump from vehicle to vehicle, I take this with me, and like if I'm going to work, if I'm doing any kind of distance or stuff, this is in there, so I've always got a hot meal no matter where I am. And it's also it's ideal just to have in your bag, that if you had to ditch your bag or something, you've always got another layer, haven't you? So in the top of here, front pouch, okay, this is my fire lighting. So in here, got things like lighters, ferro rods, that kind of thing. If you're wondering, this is just a very, very cheap, it's Viper, which I always used to think was like the cheap airsoft gear and stuff, but over the years, they've actually got a lot better quality than what they used to be. I don't know, let us know what you think. If you've had this stuff and it's been alright. This is one of them man bags where it's only got one little thing and you can get a pistol down here apparently, or because that's going to come right handy in Sheffield. But anyway, I'm waffling. Next section, so I've got this set as my brew kit, so I've accumulated 2 or 3 different brew kits, put extra stuff in there as well, that goes in there. Little fork, some odds and ends. I've got some soap for washing my hands before I have something to eat, teas, coffees, that kind of thing. Okay, the main section, what we've got in here, this isn't the cheapest piece of kit, right? This is something you work up to. I had the cheap, I mean nowadays, the like 5-6 quid adapters that go on the gas bottle, and just used to cook off that and a little aluminium tin. Now what I've done, Stu treated me for my birthday last year, so he got me the Jetboil. I'd highly recommend this, or even one of its knockoff counterparts. just for ease of use, and it's a self-contained system. So when you can get something where you literally screw the thing together, light it up, done, and you can drink out of it, it's just ideal. If I'm out doing something like this, I don't want to use the gas, or I run out of gas, I've still got the metal cup that I can put on an open fire, so I can still, no matter what, cook. But this is just pure convenience. Lid for it. Then in the bottom here I've got 2 or 3 meals, a few snacks, things like that. So I've always got some food, some drink, whatever. Whenever I'm out and about, I've always got bottled water, and I've also got the water filtration systems if I need it. But when I'm at work and things, you've always got bottled water. So yeah, that's basically in here. So let's get some food. So in the last video, I had 1,000,001 people ask me where I get my ration packs from, and they wanted a link to it, this, that and the other. So you can get ration packs online. There's plenty of companies that do it. You can get them off eBay, but they're not cheap. You're looking at like 25 quid for a 24-hour ration pack, whereas you just need to shop smart with it. You need to shop K-Smart, was it? What was it? That Evil Dead one with the boomstick. Anyway, waffling. So yeah, you need to be going to military surplus shops, and you need to be going to the shows, like the bushcraft shows, things like that. Usually they're around about £10 to £15 for a box. Okay, if you buy the entire case, which is what I do, and I buy 10 24-hour ration packs at a time, they're usually £80 to £100 for a whole thing. So then they work out about £8, which if you're getting some of the newer ones, I think that's dirt cheap, because you're getting £8 for 3 meals, snacks, drinks, everything like that, which, you know, it's the price of a pizza, isn't it, or something. So you can do it cheaper. If you want to do it on the cheap, you can get yourself some super noodles, you can get yourself some tins of beans, you can do it that way. It's just convenient to have the ration pack, and I think a lot of people know that. They just don't want to pay the money for something that they feel is surplus and used to get dished out. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I go with it. What I tend to try and do is, a lot of the surplus shops, what happens is, a rat pack might be opened up and 1 or 2 items taken out of it. I just want the main meals. That's all I want, is the main meals, and maybe a few brew kits or something. So I tend to buy just the meals that I like, because no one's going to like everything that's in a box, you know. So instead of swapping and changing and things like that, just get the little bits that you want out of it. You can go outdoors, and the Wayfarer foods, it's the same thing. They just put this in a nicer package to present to you. Same company that does it, Wayfarer. So yeah, again, depends on your budget. I went for years and years and years. I remember when I was a kid, what I used to do is I used to take things like super noodles and beans and things like that on camps with me at cadets, and I used to bring the rat packs home with me and then use them on little camps that I was doing over on the moors, because that's where I spend most of my youth, is on the moors over there. So yeah, it depends what you want to go with it. So if you're new to this and you are messing about with ration packs, you very rarely be able to get the whole thing in a pot. So every few minutes, just turn it over, and it keeps it warming up kind of evenly. You're always going to get a cold spot in the middle, because it's the hot water, like, kind of cooking it from the outside. So when you're about there, get the thing, mush it around with your hands. Just make sure it is all mixed up inside. Now this is banging hot now, so I know we're not far off. It's been on a roll, like a low boil now for a couple of minutes. In fact, screw it, I'm really hungry. I'm having it now. What you'll find on these, there's little perforation marks here and here. So you rip it across, right? You're gonna have like a spoon about this long. You can get them, but what I do, move everything down to the side, get the thing, and cut it this way. Just leave that up a second, I'll put this away. It smells beaut. and then once you've got it to the side here, you've only got that much. It all opens up, you can see what you're cooking, you don't get dirty fingers as you're trying to get into the thing. My dumpling's gone to absolute mush now, but it tastes good. So yeah, what we've got here, steak, vegetables and dumplings in gravy. It's not the best food, it's not restaurant food, but for a warm meal, when you're camping, that takes zero effort, zero cleaning, because the beauty of this now is I've got some hot water now to make a brew. So if I want a cup of tea, bang a tea bag in and we're there. So it's efficient, isn't it? Very, very efficient. What I think I'll do is I'm going to put cameras and phones and stuff on charge in the vehicle. I'm going to get down, see if I can get half an hour's rest, and then stick my head out. And by that point, I'll have been quiet long enough that things should start to be running about in this field here. This is the downside of coming out to do a job, but trying to make a video at the same time. I was ready for this. If you had to, this is already cooked, so you can just eat it cold, and it's not terrible. If you are going to eat it cold, put it, you know, right onto your skin, under all your clothes for a bit, at least get it up to body temperature. I've even done it where I've put it on the dashboard of a Land Rover and let the heaters warm it up, and that does actually get it fairly warm. Unless it's my Land Rover with bust heaters. If you're wondering, nice from Wessex blades, so's the ferro rod. Right, so I had to be greedy. Sticky toffee pudding time. Just, I've got desserts in the Land Rover, but you know when you look in a bag and you're just like, yeah, I'm having some of that. Couldn't help myself. There's my fork. If you've not seen these, they look absolutely terrible, but they're not, they're really not. So you've got all your toffee juices down there and your big slab of rock hard pudding. But if you're outside and you're cold and you're hungry, there's nothing better. I think the only thing that would make them better is if they weren't so hard, but then if they were softer, they'd just get squashed all the hard anyway. This might have started soft, I don't know. Right, so as part of doing these videos and stuff like that, what I do is obviously I do giveaways, things like that. When companies give stuff, I do a bit of a shout out in return. I get something to give to the Patreons and the people that help the channel out. So as for today, if you're watching this today on the 8th, which is Friday, there's a massive sale on. There's some special edition torches from Olight, so they've got either the gunmetal grey that comes in the really nice pouch, or they've got a desert camo one. Right, this is the reason I've got this one on me tonight, is I'm mounting this one to the side of here because it's got a 600 metre range on it. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's a real long throwing lens in it, which I've got the other Warrior ones which throw it out some distance, but it kind of spreads, whereas this has got a very specific pattern. So I'll give you some bump on this because, like I say, Erin from China, she's absolutely bang on, and she does look after this channel, and it gives me the opportunity then to pass these on to other people. So yeah, if you get the bundle, it's £67 off today, if you're watching this on the 28th. Then, as well as this torch with the bundle, you get a free i3 UV ultraviolet keychain torch, which is the slightly smaller version of this one. Okay, so yeah, it's limited quantity though, and just to give you an idea, the last sale that they had on, I can't remember if it was something around about the half-an-hour mark or something like that, and they'd sold out. So if you do want one of the limited edition ones, get on it quickly. They will have these in the black, I would have thought, but like I say, these are special limited issue ones. So yeah, the other thing with these as well, which is quite cool, if you turn it on, it actually vibrates. You know, like when your phone gets a message and it vibrates, it does that. So if it's in your pocket or something like that and you accidentally hit it, you get that vibration, so you know. Yeah, you've either got straight on, it's got all the different light modes where you've got different settings for brightness and things, and then just hit down and you get the full ridiculous one. And then what I do, I haven't got a rifle mount, but what I'll do is I've got the bicycle mount that came as one of the packages once, so I just pop that on there. Where are we? Pop that on there, and then that's now attached. So what I can do is, when I lift it up, I can just bang it on and then straight in there. So yeah, not using the shotguns or anything tonight because where I am, I've got to stay fairly quiet because although I'm on a farm, there is a few houses dotted about on the lanes and stuff, and they don't want the drama, so they said, can I just keep it quiet? So that's why I've got the little plinker. So yeah, that's check them out. There'll be a link in the description down below as usual. They come in these lovely little gift boxes and stuff with everything in. You get the magnetic charger, which I'm sure you've seen it on my other ones. I'm Olight mad these days. I've got my little cheap eBay torch, but since I've had these, there's just no that comes close to it. So you get that, literally plug that into a USB and that just goes on there. So yeah, that's how you charge it. Dead straightforward. And then they've got this other little thing in here. They've got the key ring thing. I don't know what that's for. Anybody know? Not quite sure. It looks like it should go on the base or something. I don't know. Or is it, does the charger go in it? I might actually have to read the instructions for a change. That's got me stumped, that one. But yeah, appreciate it even if you just click on the link, go and have a look at the website. It does me a favour because at the end of the day, any traffic I send over there, they then appreciate that you're going over there, you're having a look, and it looks good for me as a channel, doesn't it? And I like to play the game because they've always looked after me. They've sent me bits out, they've given me bits for giveaways, things, so they've got time for me, I've got time for them. So I appreciate that. I know not everybody wants to see it and stuff, but the way YouTube's going and things, we're cutting all the money out, and as you're aware, I did that video a few weeks ago and got punished for it massively. I want to do a thank you as well. Thank you to the I did a few live chats over the past week or two, just for the boredom of everyone sat at home, and there were no end of people that hit the super chat on that, and a few in particular massively generous. So thank you, because that made a big difference to, because Google pretty much wiped out my AdSense, so that went right down. So all the people that super chatted and everything, you've brought it right back up to what I normally get, and that money goes into the pot for buying the cameras and actually getting me out and doing these videos, so thank you. Right, what I need to do now is I'm going to tidy all this up that I've opened up now. I've made a right mess. We're coming up to, it's just gone 1900, so I reckon we've got about another half an hour, 45 minutes before the sun gets low. So what I'm going to do, tidy up, get everything squared away. I'm going to lock all the doors in the Land Rover and stuff, and I'm going to get in here, probably have half an hour, see if I can get a bit of shut eye or something for half an hour, be nice and quiet, and then when I stick my head out, with any luck, we'll get some fast food. And then from there on in, that's going to be this evening, and then tomorrow morning we'll bring you through getting some breakfast together and stuff. We'll see what the weather's like, because it's looking a bit, looks like it's going to chuck it down, to be honest. If it's pouring down, we'll just quick breakfast. If the weather's all right and it plays the game, we'll see if we can do some more traditional firelighting, you know, get it a bit more basic stuff. If it's something that you are interested in, I'm not a full-blown bushcrafter, but I'll go through some firelighting, some bits and pieces, whatever you want, because I appreciate there's people out there, and this is how to learn. They'll watch it on YouTube, watch it on YouTube, and then have a play. So if there's bits and pieces that you want me to run through, then yeah, I don't mind. It's just as and when I can get out and do the videos, and we'll make it work. It's getting to that time of year where I can actually get the videos done. So right, let's tidy up. Right, it's that time of night now where last light, partridges are making a racket, as they do. If you're enjoying this, if it's any use to you, click the like button, give us a comment. If you haven't already, subscribe if you won't mind. And yeah, we'll get more videos out there. Like I say, I'm a bit limited at the minute because I'm back at work again at the minute, but there's only limited reasons why you can go out the house, and obviously pest control is one of them, so I can't go in the woods or anything like that or spend any time there, but I can come and do this, so I am social isolating. There's nobody about anywhere, and I am performing essential work because vegans need the food, so we need to get rid of the problem. Right, I'm going to get in the basha now because it's starting to get a bit cold. It was I've just been charging my phone up in the Land Rover, and you know when you sit there and you get a bit comfy and you're like, could stop in here, but I do like to stop in the basha because it reminds me how good the land is when I go out. I don't know how much of you can see now because I'm struggling a bit with light, but what I've done, so I sleep diagonally across the basha because it gives you the maximum amount of space, and if it rains there's less chance of you getting like your feet out or something like that. On the triangle is, so to speak, that you're not in, I put my boots, my cooker, things like that. So as much as I've got into my sleeping bag and everything now, because obviously sitting here not moving you get quite cold quite quickly, so I'm in my sleeping bag. I've got the rifle just poking out now. I've got all my brew kit and everything, so if I want to make a brew I can make a brew. I've got everything within arm's reach. If I get anything I can just jump out of the sleeping bag, put my boots on and just go out. So yeah, that's where I'm at so far. It looks a bit untidy, but I'm this way on here, so we've got this triangle of space. So got my water, got a flashlight, got my burner, got my boots, and that's my view out, so I can't complain. On the other bit of the triangle behind me I've just got my Bergen. It just keeps everything tucked away, ready to go. Good morning. I'll stand here with the lighters. This is the morning of a bad night's sleep. Right, so my little air mat decided that was going to pack in, and that went down, and there was a bit of a hard spot that stuck up in the ground, which don't normally bother me, but with it being cold as well, it wasn't comfy. Then it got really cold because all the cloud cover disappeared, so it got just below freezing. It was frosty, so that took me till about 6:30 this morning, and then there's no rabbits about, so I had a bit of a strop, went back in the Land Rover, had an hour's sleep in there, so I'm up now. I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, I stayed there the whole time. No, I went in the landing to warm up for an hour, and I was just bloody uncomfortable, so there's no point absolutely killing yourself when you just start doing a bit of shooting. So yeah, managed to get one, which is piss poor for me, really piss poor. Looking round every time, because what they're doing is they're coming in that corner where the polytunnel is, and they're digging their way in and eating all the stuff inside. But then as well as that, they keep coming all the way along this tree line, and there was only a couple last night, but I wasn't quick enough, that come just outside of here. So I'm wondering if I've set up too close to the warren, which is just under there. So I think next time I'm going to set up down the yard and give them well enough time, you know, to get right into the yard so they've got a further to run. Anyway, so it's coffee o'clock. It's well needed. And get some breakfast as well, because I'm hungry, because I've had a long night. The other thing that might not have been helping me as well is, I think it was a bit of a mistake, is I'm used to doing my basha really low, keep it stealthish, keep it out of the way, and it might keep a bit heated, you know, if it's a bit lower, that kind of thing. But what might have been happening is, every time I've turned over and lifted the tarp up a bit to try and shoot, I can shoot that way fine because it's got the stick there, but then if there's nothing there, I've rolled over and lifted the other side up, and I think the amount of noise that I'm making when I'm rolling over and all the rest of it is giving them time to do one. So that might have been the mistake. From that then, lesson learned, which I don't like the idea of, is having the tarp like at probably about 5 foot high, but I'm not right keen on that because you get a lot of draft through. So yeah, I might have to split it down to just doing the basha for camping and the Land Rover for shooting, because when I shoot from the Land Rover I'm usually quite successful with it, because what I do is I've got the big back door that I can open and I've got the side door that I can open. So what I do is I'll stick the telly on, quiet, I'll watch a programme, something like that, which gives them time to come back out again, and then turn the telly off, open the door quietly, and I can shoot out from it. So I think splitting it down, I think I was trying to do too much stuff, because obviously I can come out to shoot but I can't come out to camp, so I've come out to shoot but the way I've done it's not been very well. So lesson learned. I mean, this is a video for beginners and I'm learning. Crazy, yeah. So right, let's get this coffee going anyway. On the back end of the gas as well, which I'm assuming the fishing shop's not going to be open these days, because I usually get all my gear from the fishing shop. Yeah, that's struggling now. Little Wessex Blades one. It's just a little multi-tool that you have on your key ring. You can pry tacks and stuff out, but more than anything else, it's just for the ferro rod. So I carry a couple of these, and I find it a lot more useful than having a lighter, because there's no. When you've got a lighter in your bag, there's half a chance that you're going to roll over and press the button on it, that kind of thing. You can put a little tie wrap round, but it's a pain in the backside. Quite often you can just, you know, just run the things out of gas and then you're pretty stuck. Whereas this, you know, it gives a good bit of spark out. I think that needs a sharpen up on the edges. But yeah, it's, well, you've seen with the knife, that's got real sharp edges on it. You're always going to get a spark out of it. And it's a good compound to get like hay, a bit of brasso, bit of wool, anything like that going. So yeah, just an option. And again, put everything away. As soon as you've used it, put it away. Well, this morning, I said on the last video about coffee bags, tiny outdoors. He knows my address and he looks after me. So I'm gonna have to sort him out back now with something. He he knows he doesn't like Amazon, and he's got Amazon to send me a load of coffee bags. Alright, rubbish straight away. Put that in the lander. So what I'm going to do, before I forget, I'm going to put these ones in here, and I've got them for work as well. If I'm having a bad day, I can have one of them. So that's my lightweight one, and then I'll put these ones in my door card of my Land Rover, then I've got them ones as well. Oh, there we go, ready for this. If you've not tried these and you do like a coffee in the morning, it's the way forward. I asked in the last one, loads of people were dead helpful. Last video that I did, yeah, everybody commented it was awesome. Oh, this is a difficult one. So I've got morning face and I need the sun on my face so you can actually see me, but I don't want to look into the light. You're gonna have to have a bit of shade. Yeah, everyone was banging. Absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for all your suggestions for the coffee bags and stuff. Yes, I did order some from Contact Coffee. I don't know if I'll get some more from there though, because it was like £4.50 or something like that for a box of 10. But then I thought, oh, that's good. I'll taste them. I'll see if they're good, and I'll get a load. But it was £4.50 for bloody postage. So yeah, it turns into like near enough £9, which I thought was quite expensive for 10 coffees, especially when you're making it yourself. But yeah, I'll try them. They might be really, really good, and it might be just because it's a small quantity that I'm having shipped out, and the postage is the same whether you get a small item or a big item. Don't know. So with any luck, I'll get them soon. So that's more morning coffees. So I'm going from I can't find them anywhere and upset to I'm inundated with coffee. So happy days, and thank you to everybody that commented on the last one. Do appreciate it. And if you notice, where I was saying, like, you know, where I've been punished with me views and all the rest of it, the last video, because so many people liked and commented and watched quite a lot of it, you can see that the views have started to go back up again now. So yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for playing the game with YouTube. It's it does help, and it's yeah, because that was bloody pathetic doing the 10 skills you should have for like all this stuff that's going on, showed about coronavirus and all that lot, and yeah, basically got my channel put on its arse without being told. So it's like a stealth block, isn't it? So anyway, right, I need a brew. Right, so I'm halfway through my coffee now. Lovely. What I'm gonna do, if you're in a rush, get your stuff packed away, by all means. It's nice to keep all your kit together as well. But what I like to do, if I've got the time, because I don't use the sleeping bags and stuff so often, what I'll do is I'll take the basha off the top now. I'm going to roll that back, and I'm just going to leave the sleeping bag and my blanket and everything out in the sun, open it up, just let it air out, because you're in there all night. Like last night, it was cold, so because the sleeping bag only comes up to here, I got like the sleeping bag turned round so the hood bit was like over my head, and I got the what's it called, the poncho liner thing over my head as well, just to try and keep some heat in. All your breath and everything, all that dampness, all that lot, it's all in the material. So that's, if you wrap it all up, put it all away, it's gonna go a bit manky and it's not good. So if we can air it out for an hour before we pack it away, even better. That way it keeps everything nice, fresh, all the rest of it. You'll see me quite often on a camp where even in summer or something like that, and I'll get my duvet out the Land Rover and I'll just put it across the bonnet or chuck it on the roof for an hour or two. Just keeps everything nice and fresh and aired out, doesn't it? Because last thing you want to do is go camping somewhere, pull it out, and it's all stuffy and manky and ugh. So yeah, that's the plan. Right, make sure keep all your pegs and your bungees, because you put them down, you're not going to find them again. So these are going to go straight onto the bonnet of the Land Rover. As soon as the bag comes out, they can go in it. So yeah, what have we got? So you could feel straight away there's some moisture still on the inside of the basha. So we've got the poncho liner, which, like I say, they're not very thick, but they do make a difference. Sleeping bag. So earwig, you wouldn't want to have packed an earwig in for next time, would you? So we're going to open that up. Torch out of the way. There we go. Give that half an hour, and we can pack it all away. Right, so here we go, just getting packed away now. I don't know how, but every time I seem to camp in a basha, there's earwigs. I can go anywhere, and every morning when I pack away, there's an earwig, or 2, or 50. Should have got in my pots and pans. So again, all I'm doing, I'm just breaking it down into sections. And what it is, you don't have to do it like anybody else does it, but what I would recommend is you keep everything in its own little areas. If you can't keep it in its own little areas, put everything in its own little bags. So like I've got my Broom Kit and stuff in a bag. I've got this pouch is just full of tarps and tentage, bungees, tent pegs, that kind of thing. So you know that that is your shelter pouch. You know, this one here, I've got my poncho liner. I put my hoodies and things like that. So I know that's warm, dry, like clothing, things to keep me warm. In the front, I've got my water and I've got my cooking gear. In here, sleeping bag. And you know, all the excessive things that are going to go on top of here. I'll close that down, put my little bag on, close it all up. In there I've got my personal cleaning gear for myself, and in there I've got all my tools and things. But even down to your tools and things, so when it's dark and you're not rattling around like trying to remember where something is, you can just pull out a pouch and you know you've got stuff in the pouch. You can get it out, you can open it, you can see everything, okay, instead of fumbling round or tipping it out everywhere, or pulling the one item out and something else falls on the floor and you don't see it and then you lose it. So if you can stay organised, David Fryers, he's the best one for this. He actually makes little pouches. This isn't one of them, this is out of another bag, but he makes every shape and size, and so he'll make a specific pouch just for your poncho, he'll make a specific pouch just for your cook set, which it sounds a bit excessive, but if you keep everything in its own little pouch and it's either labelled or a different colour or what have you, it's easily identifiable, especially when you're in lower light, because what you don't appreciate, a lot of people don't appreciate, is once that light goes down, you're on a torch at best, and you don't always want to have the torch on the go. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I know I've had the great big thrower torch on for shooting and stuff, but other than that I've not been using a torch because I know where everything is, and then that way, that I think it's just good practice. I'm in the corner of my mate's field, but if I was out somewhere where I shouldn't be, you're not going to get picked up on as easy, are you? So it's just a thought. So what we're going to do now, get this back in the vehicle. We're going to just make sure there's nothing about. Okay, got a bit of flat grass, just run your feet over it. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it lifts the grass up and it's not as obvious from a distance. Okay. Someone put some music to this. Right, we'll get the sticks that I've used. We'll go put them back where I found them. Then I'm going to top the water up on my drinking water. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the vehicle to the other side of the field and see if we can get some shooting done. Because it was a bloody cold night last night, so I'm hoping that everything's going to come out for a bit of a warm. I think what I'm going to start doing, the water that comes through this, it actually tastes quite good because it's been so filtered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start filtering my water for work, I think. Because you know, it's like you take a bottle of water every day to work. It's if you save £1 a day, £5 a week, £20 a month, that's camping money. One thing I've noticed is as this gets empty, I don't fully fill it up because it's just weight that I'm not using. But if it's not full, there's quite a bit of pumping you've got to do, you know, to keep the pressure with a large volume of air to water. Oh, it's not bad. It's can't complain at that, 1.5 litre of filtered water in that time. Right, so heading off now, all packed up, got everything back in the bag, chucked in the back of the Land Rover. I've just had another half an hour zeroing and everything just to make sure that everything's perfect for when I get it out of the bag next time. Hope this was of use to you. If you want to see more simple camps, basic camps, let us know. Obviously, if the whole lockdown thing's still on, I'm limited to only when I can do it when I'm doing the pest control, but as soon as it's lifted, I'm going to get out there, get to the woods, get out to a few different locations that I have got planned. And if there's anything specific you want to see, i.e. cooking, different cook systems, different blades, different things like that, let us know. As always, if you can let YouTube know this is a channel that's decent and other people should watch it, hit the like, give us a comment and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Thank you very much.